Welcome to episode 53 of PuckPod by BD Sports. I'm Brian, and I'm here with David and Christian. Dave, how was your week?
Lots of work again. Yeah, these next few weeks are gonna be work grind season. I know another person in here who's gonna be grinding a lot over the next few weeks, so I can't really complain all that
Oh,
much.
you
But
cannot complain.
I can't complain. You're right. Yeah, work and like we literally had no Leaf games until Friday. Did I watched like just other sports, I think, honestly. Maybe some other NHL action. I think I watched some other NHL games, but
How
that's
about
about it.
um, how about Thanksgiving football?
Oh, dude, Thanksgiving football is like the games actually weren't even too bad this year either. They were all pretty entertaining. Thanksgiving football, especially like um it's like a Thursday and you're watching like the Sunday. It's like watching like a Sunday night. So we would like get home from doing stuff. And it's like then there's like football on. I was like, fantastic. Like that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Too bad my team got slapped by a
Yeah,
division
we did.
rival, but it happens. Christian, how was your week?
Oh, my week was all right. Similar to Dave, lots of work. The retail and grocery grind for me and Dave, the student grind for Brian. We're all grinding, man. It's that part's not the most fun, but yeah, sports, like Dave said, no Leafs. Like we had two games in a span of 12 days, which was really weird, really weird. Especially like Monday this week, I was just like, there's got to be a Leaf game on tonight, right? And then you just look at the schedule, you're like, oh my God, so that sucks. But yeah, got some Leafs to talk about now. Dave, the Detroit Lions are just cursed on Thanksgiving. Like, what is this? I heard seven
D-
Thanksgivings in a row now, and now they're actually good, right? Like they're supposed to win these games now.
and they were like uncharacteristically awful. Like everybody
Yeah,
on the except for their receiver, like their QB was looked like a bottom feeder quarterback. Like not
yeah.
something like he's not the greatest, okay, I'll admit to start off with, but that was like I haven't seen a performance from him like that in years. So yeah, there's something to do with like the moon, if I'm not mistaken. It's like I listen, I'm not an astrologist or an astronomer or whatever study like whoever studies the moon, but there's like a certain type of moon that was happening that day. And supposedly in the 100 years of the Detroit Lions existing, they've played on Thanksgiving seven or six times before this. Now it's seven. With that moon, and they were like 0 and 6. Now they're 0 and 7. So yeah, I don't know.
Absurd, bro.
That's
Absurd.
Absurd,
a
man.
that's a weird stat, but
We need more moon phase stats in sports, guys. I think this is the
please
new
no,
thing.
I
Okay,
wonder. I wonder what
advanced
the
moon stats.
yeah. I wonder what the like the moon stats are like when the Leafs hit like game seven. Give me that number.
We're finding it out, Dave. We got to figure this out, man.
or you might
Let's
have
do it.
lost on every single moon, like a full moon, half moon, quarter
Yeah,
moon,
Yeah, we
and then
probably have
we've hit
honestly.
for the cycle, man. We've hit for the moon cycle. Brian, how about your week, man? I heard you, or I didn't hear you, but I saw you saying that it was like a really crazy week. So I don't know how much you can tell us, but run us down the crazy week that was.
um. So Wednesday I went out with like a mentor. Like in law school, you're always paired up with somebody, like a upper year student. And he paid for my dinner at the start of the school year. So I was like, I'll take you out. So I got pissed drunk with him. Like like on a Wednesday. The next day I was like hungover. But I
Did you
went
have
to this
anything going
restaurant,
on the Thursday? Oh, well, it's
a full
Thanksgiving.
day of
So
classes.
I have a question,
Yo,
Brian.
this is
You
very not Brian
you
moves,
guys are
man.
very close to the border, right?
Yeah,
What is American Thanksgiving like in Thunder Bay?
nothing. Not for law
Nothing?
students. Not for law
Okay,
students.
so it's
Nothing.
it's it's like us.
Yeah.
Because so I just bring this up because I have family who live in Windsor and
They celebrate that.
they do stuff. That's why.
It's not I like there's probably families in the areas that celebrate. It's just law school students don't get anything to celebrate in their life until they graduate. So,
Fair.
but I had this. We went to this fancy restaurant. Well, not well, it's fancy enough. It's called a
fancy
Tomlin.
relative
It's
to
Thunder
Bay.
Bay fancy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
get it.
Toronto. It's relative
It's
to
probably where the Stahl brothers go in the off season, right?
yeah,
That's
but
where they take all their friends.
it's
Yeah.
actually relative to Toronto. Like if, but it's
Okay.
non-Toronto prices. So I had this chicken
Ooh,
sandwich, Wednesday only
right.
special, $15 for a huge sandwich and a huge salad. This is probably the best chicken sandwich I ever had in my life, and the best salad I ever had in my life. If you bring this to Toronto, it's a $60 dish.
Wow.
Like
Dude,
it's
you know
that
it's
good.
$15 in Toronto? Just the salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true, man. God damn it.
We get
Um,
gouged.
That was your
It's
whole week,
crazy.
Brian? Just chicken and salads? No.
we're not gonna get
And
into the
getting pissed
weekend.
drunk.
We're
Okay.
not gonna get into the Friday because that was another story. But but we'll move on. Black Friday shopping. I did buy an Xbox, and you know, NHLShop.ca some pretty crazy deals for Black Friday, and that's where you can get the new Seattle and Vegas Winter Classic jerseys. I don't know if you guys saw them, but I'm kind of a fan. More so the Seattle though. What do you guys think?
Real quickly before we get into the jerseys, I just want to talk about how we found out about these jerseys. They were leaked, and we were questioning at first if it was intentional or not, because I believe the first instance of seeing them was a Utah Jazz game where I want to say, I forget the guy's name. It's one of their younger guys on Utah. I want to say it's their center power forward. He came in a Seattle jersey, and so we saw that. And then I think it was on AEW, two of the hosts on the show were wearing this Vegas and Seattle jerseys. So weird that we got like the sport crossover to get these jerseys out into the public. People are wondering like, okay, was that just to get some early criticism on them? Does that even matter because it's way too late to change anything on the jerseys? It's just an interesting way that we found out about them.
I
Do you guys
think,
have any thoughts on that stuff?
dude, I think the NHL should lean into using. I mean, listen, they want to copy the other, like all the other sports all the time, like especially the NBA. You might as well ask them to help you promote stuff as well, especially to like the casual. Like that's we see jerseys like that through a hockey lens, right? Imagine somebody watching in Utah asking like, you know, you see the guys walking in and you see this jersey that you've never seen before. You assume you know it's hockey because you could tell what a hockey jersey is. It's nothing that you like really see on the everyday. And maybe that's just something that appeals to them. So I'm a big fan of like cross marketing across like different platforms. So if that would, it seems to be intentional on the NHL's part. So good for them for taking that initiative for this route, especially.
Yeah, I can't lie. I didn't even realize that that's how we found out. I've been out of the loop recently, but I do remember the picture of the basketball player. That stands out to me. I just didn't know that that was how it got out. If it means piggybacking on the NBA just to get a couple extra views, I don't mind it. But now we're just viewed as the little brother, and we will be seen as that if that's our marketing strategy.
I think we've been there and we'll continue to be there for a long while. So I don't know if it really, yeah, I don't know if it really affects us in that way.
I Brian, I think just to add on to that point, I mean, like, dude, like I said, we've kind of always been the little brother. I'm fine if they just want to try new things. If that's the way, like I can't recall a time before this where they have like leaked a jersey or something along those lines with another sport. It's always been like leaks in the community, basically.
Yes, no, that's a good way of looking at it.
One of the theories was that the reason it was the Utah Jazz that was wearing Seattle jerseys is because the owner of the Utah Jazz is the guy who wants to bring a team there, like an NHL team there. So that's how you got his in
Smart.
with the
Kind of like
jerseys.
that.
So
There you
just an
go.
interesting thing there. Yeah, Ryan Smith is the
3013.
guy's name. Yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
Smith,
So
like from the Oilers?
no, yeah,
No,
different
no.
Ryan Smith, right?
Different Ryan
I'm
Smith.
sure there's probably 50 Ryan Smiths just
Especially in
like
Utah,
around the
dude.
corner. Oh yeah, lots of Ryan
Especially in
Smiths.
Utah.
Lots
Yeah.
of Ryan
Yeah.
Smiths. Okay, the jerseys, the jerseys.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
I'm
Yo,
gonna
I actually really like the Vegas jerseys now. Like with the uniform, I should specify. The jersey itself is like is mid, but the uniform, it's like an 8 out of 10 for me. I actually prefer it to Seattle. Seattle's is nice too. I'd give Seattle like a 7.5 out of 10, but I'm leading Vegas, to be honest.
So I don't know if we said this in our chat, but I think we kind of came to the conclusion that Vegas has the best on ice fit, but if you
Yeah.
were a casual, you're leaning towards the Seattle jersey if you want to like just wear it out, basically. And I can't disagree with that. As much as I genuinely really like. Did you guys see the helmet decal for the Vegas jerseys? Brian, did you see it?
It says it's Vegas written out, right?
It's Vegas
It's like
written out,
it's
but
the 3D thing.
it's 3D printed. So it's like
Oh,
it's raised text basically, right?
It's more of like a stamp than it is a sticker. It's like how the Leafs do their helmets now.
Yeah.
And I think like the Hurricanes used to do it like that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It's cool.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
actually like
try new
that.
Yeah.
things. Try new things.
Yeah.
Um, I will say this though, I am a big fan of the Seattle jerseys. I don't know what it is with with like the stripes, but
For me, I like the logo way better than the stripes. I don't feel like that striping. To me, the colors are a little all over the place. That logo is really nice, or it says Kraken inside the S. I really like that. I like that they did the numbers in red. I think we were talking about that. That really makes it pop out. Same thing goes for Vegas with the silver numbers. Did you guys see like where they got the inspiration for these jerseys or no? Because it's two very different stories here.
So I know the Seattle ones are from the team that was there. If I'm not mistaken, they were the first ever American Stanley Cup champions,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So that's
It was
like,
like 1917 or something,
yeah.
like
So,
or
and you could definitely tell those like types of jerseys were from the 1920s.
yeah.
One distinction, like one similarity is, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was like 15 years ago, the Habs brought back like a vintage jersey, and they call them now, I believe the fans call them the barber pole jerseys, because they're just like, it's blue, white, red stripes just going
that's
around the
Yeah,
awesome.
jersey,
yeah.
basically,
And
right?
it's got the maple leaf on it. It says CAC on it. It's
Yeah,
the only time you can have a maple leaf on a Habs jersey. Only time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to assume the Vegas ones are like just a nod at the city's history, because as somebody who just went to Vegas recently, that looks like something that you would see in old downtown. So now new downtown is like the strip. Old downtown is like where the very first like casinos were being built. Like when the history lesson quickly, when the mafia from the eastern part of the United States, when they wanted to set up their gambling operations, Fremont Street in Las Vegas had only one casino at the time, because gambling has been legal, like what has been legalized in the state of Nevada since the 1800s. The very first one is this place called the Golden Nugget. It's still up and running. I didn't have a chance to go in, but I think in the future, if I do end up going back to Vegas, I'd like to just like go inside to see like what it's like 120 years old or something ridiculous. And that's why that jersey looks like on that street, like all of the casinos have that like font and like those
The
like aesthetics basically.
yeah, it's the font that does it for me. It's like this is vintage, well, appealing
Very
to look
old
vintage.
timey. Yeah,
Yeah.
the little squigglies at the top and whatever. Yeah. So I mean, Dave, you basically nailed it because I think the explanation they gave on the official release is that it's an imagined idea. Like it's not based on reality. They didn't have a hockey team. They kind of just said, "This is what we imagine a Vegas hockey jersey would look like back then." So around the same time as the Seattle ones. So like you said, let's say like 1920s, right?
Yeah,
So that's kind of what they went for, and
I
I
think
guess
they
you're saying
nailed
they
it.
fit the vibe, right?
They
Okay.
nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Christian, you picked Vegas over Seattle. Dave, just based on the way that it looks, what are you taking?
Am I judging this on them on the ice? Because I'm
It,
still I think I'm taking Vegas on the ice 100%. If I was considering buying one though, I am I
like
think
in
the Vegas
Seattle?
one,
Okay.
but yeah, the Vegas one is just a little bit too plain. What about
Especially
you?
because, I thought like Vegas has nice jerseys in their repertoire already.
Yeah,
Like their
yeah,
reverse retro, their
they've
first
hit.
reverse retro is really nice. I didn't really like the one from last year, the glow in the dark one, as much.
Yeah,
Still
which
decent.
one is the red one?
The first
Is
one
that
is
the
the
first
red
one?
one with the diagonal striping, and it's got their alternate logo as the main logo, the crossed swords with the red star, like the Vegas sign star on it. Really, really nice. Love that jersey. But Seattle doesn't really have much, right? They've got their home, their away, the reverse retro from last year. This is literally the only their fourth jersey in their history. So
Their reverse retro was plain as well. Like it was not
it was, yeah, it was
going
really
for.
nondescript.
Yeah.
Brian, you're Seattle.
I'm Seattle. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a fan of it. I don't know what it is.
It's not bad.
You like the
Not bad at
stripes.
all.
You're a
Yeah.
Yes,
stripe guy, Brian. That's what it is.
And the logo would look really good on a hat. If I could find
Oh,
that,
it
get
would. It
that
get
would.
would be a
that.
nice. That would be
Yeah.
a nice get.
A nice like dark like a
Dark
dark
blue.
like the cap. What's this part? Is this a cap? And then the logo's on the front? I
I
don't know. I'm not a
I
hat
Yeah.
guy.
I will say this though. Adidas has been like we're lucky to have the two expansion teams during the Adidas era. Like
Oh
they've
yeah.
done well with these two expansion teams.
Well, we're gonna
Specifically
see. We're gonna
specifically
see in a couple of
Vegas.
years. We will see in a couple of years what the next like fanatics where they want to take. Well,
Yeah.
not only just the whole league, but like treating those two teams as well.
Well, they'll
Um,
probably get a shot at doing some expansion teams too, right?
yeah,
So
they
Yeah,
that'll be
might.
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
But where I'm taking this is with Adidas is that it looks to me, well, it looks to me like they're gonna try some weird stuff for the All Star game because Greg Wyshynski made a tweet regarding the All Star jerseys, and it seems to be that there's a quote, and it says, "We're really excited about our All Star efforts. We think it will be really disruptive." What does that even mean, though? Like, I don't know.
The,
Like you guys are the ones doing the All Star game, so
Yeah.
well,
you
we're
guys are
not,
the
but it's gonna be here.
Me and
Yeah,
Dave are
I know what you're
organizing
saying.
it.
Yeah,
Brian, I'm sorry
yeah.
you haven't been invited. You didn't make the roster. Sorry,
But
bud.
where I'm going with this is you guys are the least like progressive team in terms of like doing stuff, but now you
Yeah,
guys are
yes
gonna.
and no. It depends on what it is, but I think I agree with what you're saying though. I thought Bettman even came out early in the season, or maybe even before the season, saying we're gonna make this like a traditional All-Star
yeah.
game because it's in Toronto, right?
I heard that
So
as well.
I'm and if you even look like at our logo, like I feel like it's a very classic look, but it sounds like our jerseys are not gonna be classic at all, right? Because okay, going back to what we're saying, disruptive. Like what does disruptive mean? To me, like it doesn't mean like yeah, this jersey is gonna really disrupt your viewing pleasure. It's gonna look really ugly. No, like that's not what he's saying here. It's gonna disrupt whatever the jersey landscape is. I guess we're gonna see some new type of design, maybe some new jersey technology or something. Something here is gonna be
Something.
new, right?
Yeah,
I have no idea
100%.
what, but I don't know. I would like all star jerseys that can be worn
Warren.
casually a little bit better,
hmm
right? I
I
feel
don't
like
think
too
we have
often,
those.
We don't.
not
Not.
really, man.
I think the only one in recent memory could have been. I think when did Florida host? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
That would have been, I think it was last year.
Last year,
Yeah,
right? Those like
yeah,
those throwback kind of
really good,
style. They were
really
very
good.
nice. I would
So, but you know what
consider
I think?
wearing them.
I would too, but I think what would have made them a 10 out of 10 is if they had sold versions with the team's logos on them.
Yeah.
I know we had the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, or we actually had the divisions on it. But if you could have got a Leafs jersey with the Leaf logo, even if you did them all in black and white, every logo, but imagine
hmm
black Leafs logo on that jersey,
Miami Vice
everybody's buying
colors
that.
on there. Yeah.
Sells like hotcakes, right? So
hmm
I want that. Whatever jerseys we're getting this year, I want it personalized to the team so that every fan base feels like it's worth getting.
I don't know. I the All Star game stuff to me is like
You can't get
so.
worked up for it,
No, I can't. Like I tried to, and I'm just thinking about like even like when they used to do East versus West, and then those ugly jerseys. Like Doesn't do it for me.
Those ones in like the early 2010s were god
Disgusting.
awful. Like
Just
I
a
don't know
blue red
I
with
don't know
excessive stripes. Just
who the hell
stripes
said.
everywhere.
Yeah, they were like it was literally like just all blue, all red. Like who let that go pass through like quality control,
Like,
basically.
when was the last All-Star game home run that was not based on Ovechkin? Like,
But I don't even know if there has been
Yeah.
genuinely. Or at least
yeah,
in our
There was
lifetime.
they were talking about this on like Hockey Central during the week. Could you name who won the All Star the slap shot competition last year? Hardest shot?
No shot. No shot.
no.
It's Patterson, but who remembers that, right? Like I don't remember that.
I didn't even remember that he was. I know that we talked about it, and I
Yeah.
remember that we were like, I could distinctly remember us talking about the games. I can't tell you each of the competitions, who was competing in them, and who won them. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yes.
No chance. Fastest skater, I have no idea.
No idea. Kendall Cone
Nothing.
Schofield, like sure,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So one other thing I wanted to say just before we jump off, if what the leaks from the Winter Classic are to tell us, I would imagine that we start seeing these All-Star game jerseys. I believe the All-Star weekend is the beginning of February. It's like the first week of February. We start seeing these jerseys pop up mid-January, and I wouldn't be surprised if it makes an appearance. If the NHL is thinking about doing its cross marketing thing, especially with the deal with ESPN, I'll book it right now. I'll say this into existence. Austin Matthews is going to go on Pat McAfee wearing the jersey, or Pat McAfee will be wearing the jersey for an episode in like mid-July, just before the All-Star season starts, like, building up steam.
That's a good prediction.
I like that show too. I was gonna
Okay.
go some. I was gonna say, one of the Raptors wears it for a game.
Oh, that maybe that
I'll,
too.
I'll
I
one
like
up
yours
you.
better though, Dave. I want
I'll,
yours.
I'll one up you guys. I'm gonna say Drake of the weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
Drake,
no.
dude, if Drake
Drake's
posts,
been non-existent in Toronto sports as of like
yeah,
recently. I don't
if
know. It
anything,
just
it's gonna be Justin Bieber.
Okay.
yeah, it's a
I'll
good
add him to
show.
I'll add him to my list too.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. The holy trinity of Toronto artists.
Okay.
but the
Let's
weekend
let's
doesn't do anything though, so
Yeah,
I don't
like
know. He's like the first Toronto
zero.
artist that came to my name. Like that came to my
Yeah,
mind when I thought
no,
about it.
you would think like he would be more involved. He literally, like, not even with the
He's an
Raptors.
associate.
He does
yeah.
legitimately zero
No,
for like Toronto sports.
yeah.
That's kind of funny. Okay, let's go to something that's not too funny and another common NHL. Marc-Andre Fleury wanted to wear a mask on Indigenous nights to represent there. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was gorgeous. There's like flowers on it and everything like that. It was designed by an indigenous artist, and it was he wanted to pay homage to his wife. The NHL said no, we'll fine you. He said we won't. Okay, that's fine. Then the NHL again said to the Minnesota Wild, we'll significantly fine you. And then he wore it during the warm up, and then they said, you know what? Well, I'll take it all back. No fine. What do we think about this? Because this was probably the number one topic in the league for like this past week.
It's
The
just
NHL
like
is so risk adverse. They're just risk adverse, man.
it's needless.
They just
Like,
yeah.
why? Why make that big of a stink?
So the problem with this now is that when you're an authority figure and then you say something and then you pull it back, you lose that a bit of authority.
Yeah.
The NHL's credibility is already pretty bad. I can't lie in regards to the way they handle the franchises and stuff. And now, they take this back and now we don't know what's going on. This all comes back to the Eric Stahl thing that occurred what was it, like last year or something like that?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of miss like the hockey fights cancer. I'm gonna miss military stuff. And this is another thing that we're just gonna miss out on, unfortunately. But maybe we'll get it back based on this.
Yeah, all those nights, Bri, like you mentioned, I mean, not only did they go to good causes in all in all the communities, all the causes were great. Like, you can't fault them for that. And clearly there are a lot of people putting in effort during those events, like we saw with the Fleury's mask. Like somebody had to put in like a crazy amount of hours, a meticulous amount of work to get that helmet for Marc-Andre, and then he was told like, no, you can't. And then he's like, well, I got it done, I'm
I'll do it
going to.
anyways.
And then they were like, the NHL was like, well, okay, no problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just for like a
So flip
lukewarm,
floppy.
yeah, it's like it's such a lukewarm reaction for like just amazing creations is such a disservice to the person that made that mask in particular, and then like everybody else in the past, right?
I think that we're also the only league that openly disrespects legends that are still playing. Like, there's a good chance that Fleury is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think we're the like the NHL is the only league that openly disrespects like their communities, basically, right? Like communities in their
That's
fan
a fair
bases.
point. Yeah,
I'm
probably
trying
not
to
wrong on
think
that one.
like I do think the other leagues like they have
Policy.
rules. I don't know the specifics when it comes to, like, let's say NFL. I know they're really strict on, I think it's the cleats. That's a
Mhm.
big one, right? A lot of players would have either messages on the cleats, just like a one game design, stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure NFL is really strict on that stuff. NBA, even MLB. I think
Yeah,
cleats is basically
off
the
limits.
the framework, yeah, that you can be artistic with, but they don't allow it.
You know
They don't
why?
really allow it.
In the NBA, especially, it's because they have exclusive sorry, not in the
Brand
NBA, in the
deals.
NFL, exclusive brand deals with
Yeah.
the cleat companies.
Yeah.
But you know what, you know how they circumvent that? They allow them to wear stuff in warm-ups,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And that was part of the thing with NHL is like hockey fights cancer. We had the purple jerseys in warmups. We don't even have those this year, right? So we lost that. I think it's just, as much as it's a disservice to the people making these cool creations, it's a disservice to the players themselves and their ability to, add some personality to the game, individualize themselves. And it just shows that the NHL basically is saying we don't really value the branding of particular players. It's the NHL, it's a league, it's teams, it's not players. And we know that's not the way of the future. We know that we have to brand our players better. And it just doesn't. And it's even more backwards when you think about, this is the NHL reversing their policy where all of these things were allowed as recently as last year. So they literally went through the process of creating that initial plan with the warm-up jerseys and everything and deciding against it. Like, it just makes it even more just mind boggling to understand. Like, I just don't understand what the logic is. It's not good at all, the logic here.
It's just a PR layup, but they miss the layup, and the other team takes the ball and they score a 3 in your face. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
dude, is there not even like, I'm gonna look at this like as like from a business standpoint. Is there a company, because the NHL is a company, right? Is there a company that regularly like has PR, like not even disasters, like these are genuine PR nightmares? Like if you go to school for public relations, I could guarantee 5 separate incidents in the NHL, like over the past 3 years. You could easily put as like a case in like what not to do, basically, right?
Giant textbook.
What other company like routinely does this? Like they just shoot themselves in the foot. It seems like every 2 months there's something.
Yeah, especially in the past recent years. Not a good look. But moving on, we'll go to Sam Girard, who enters the NHLPA Assistance Player Program. I was a little bit shocked to hear about this, but obviously, I don't know the full details, and I'm pretty sure that the details haven't come out yet. But we do wish him the best. He is a great defenseman and just a great player around the league just to have around.
Brad, do you want me to read the statement? It's pretty, like, it's not too long.
Okay, yeah.
So this is from CAA Hockey, who represents Sam Girard and a multitude of other hockey clients as well. So the quote reads, I have made a proactive decision to take care of my mental health and will be entering treatment for severe anxiety and depression. that has gone untreated for too long and has led to alcohol abuse. Taking care of your mental health is one of the is of the utmost importance, and I encourage everyone to speak up and seek help should you feel like you need it. I want to express my gratitude to my wife, family, friends, and the club, my teammates, and the fans for their patience, understanding, and continued support. And that, I believe, comes directly from Sam Girard through CAA. So
This this is like the third player in the past, I want to say 9 months that we've seen enter the player assistance program, and all three of them were for mental health situations, and all three of them were like legitimate players. Spencer
mm,
Knight, Jake Verana, and Sam Girard.
not even like younger guys as well, like it, relatively speaking, like people on the younger end of their, especially for Sam Girard, like how many years has he been a pro? Maybe 4 years, 3 years,
It
right?
feels like
Oh, I guess they're all like Knight's the youngest. He's probably what, 23, I guess.
Girard's only
Gerard,
25.
yeah, wow. Yeah, because he came in the league as an 18-year-old. So he's been in the league for a while, but he came in really early. So like they're really young. They're mid-20s. I think it's really commendable what not only Gerard but these other guys have done in terms of coming out. Um, it's not easy to be public about this type of stuff, but you have to think they're doing this from a place of wanting to acknowledge, hey, this is what I'm going through. If you're going through stuff like this as well, hopefully they can be a representation of courage and being okay with coming out with this type of stuff to seek help. So it's really commendable and definitely wish him the best.
Especially being so forthcoming in his quote. I think that I think that there's still probably a stigma around like not only just men's mental health, but joining the substance
PA
abuse program.
program.
Yeah. Yeah. Just joining that program, I think that there's still stigma. So I think being as frank about it as Sam Girard can be is even more like as commendable, I think, as you could become. And that's maybe one step in the right direction for getting other players who may also have mental health issues and also substance abuse issues, problems that they're just trying to sweep under the rug. Maybe this gives them the extra push that they need to come forward and talk about it.
Not just hockey players, or NHL
Everybody.
players, everybody. Like it's
Yeah.
such an important thing to take care of your own mental health. Like, you know, it's something that I probably need to work on personally myself, but
I think everybody could. It's
yeah.
not just you, Bry.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Let's move on to something a little bit more hopeful in the sense that the NHL is planning to host a four-team international tourney, an
Keep it.
international tournament with four teams.
Keep it.
You know,
I don't want it.
the World Cup is expanding to 48.
Oh,
We're
the
going
World,
down.
the world, yeah, the World Cup of
Four.
hockey, the World Cup of hockey, where only 4 countries exist. Hey, rest of the world. I know you guys might have some good hockey programs, but if you're not the US, Canada, Sweden, and it's Finland, that's the last team,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like if you're
Well,
anybody else, you're shit out of luck, guys. So
basically, bro.
there's obviously there for international external causes, we can't have another nation competing, but
well, you could have a couple
That only
others.
accounts for one. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
There's
I,
like
I,
5 off the top of my head. I would
dude,
like to see.
I've gone through it though, where I'm like, we could easily have an 8-nation tournament, even without Russia. Like you can do it. Okay, like
What I have a
Canada, US.
Yeah,
Go
I have a
ahead.
question. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, do we necessarily need to have NHL players on every single roster?
Well,
I'm
we
indifferent.
don't, but the NHL is so like just they're really driving this home that they basically don't want a tournament that doesn't include non-NHL players. That's
Is
what I
it?
get from this.
Can we get like who's the Australian? Is it Sean Walker?
Yes.
Get
No, no,
Sean
no,
Nathan,
Walker.
Nathan,
no,
Nathan,
no,
Nathan,
Nathan
Nathan,
Walker.
Nathan Walker.
Nathan.
Get Nathan Walker and his merry men. I don't think Nathan Walker's playing in the NHL right now, but dude, let's
He's
get
in the
Team
A somewhere.
Australia in here.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Um, even getting like the UK countries. Like, wouldn't you love to see
Yeah.
team like England, team Great Britain, wherever you want to
Oh,
call
they
them, or
go
like
crazy.
team
We had
Wales?
Brendan Perlini was a UK guy. At least he was born there, so he could have competed for
I
them.
I
There
think
was another guy too that never made it.
there's one or two players who I think are eligible right now. It's like
Yeah.
dual citizenship, basically. But
Yeah,
dude,
fair enough.
regardless,
Just
like
do it. Just host
just
it.
do it. Like,
I'm, not even like we don't even have to go that far though. Like, okay, like there's very traditional hockey countries that could be involved. Czech
yeah,
Republic,
Germany.
Germany,
Slovakia.
Slovakia, Switzerland, Latvia. They go crazy for hockey. Every World Juniors and World Championships, they're insane. Anytime they win a game, never mind a tournament. Get those guys in here. They have the NHL players. Maybe their full roster isn't NHL players, but that's okay.
Doesn't matter.
Denmark's got some stars, man.
Norway.
Yeah, you got Matt Zuccarello. Like, I don't know. It really sucks that we're gonna get what sounds like a washed down version. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, those four countries are the four most like talented countries in the game right now. But it's gonna feel weird to have a 1 week tournament where the speculated format is Canada and US plays a best of three. Same thing with Finland, Sweden, and then there's a finals in North America. That's it.
Okay.
That's the entire tournament.
What if we split Canada and US into East and West?
No, because now it's even more gimmicky. I want to avoid the gimmicks. We did the
That's
gimmick
fair.
thing and it didn't work. I love that,
Wait,
Brian. If we could have like, let's say we did like there
wait,
used to be the Canada Cup and whatever. Like, what if you rebranded Canada Cup as like a provincial teams? Like
province.
that would be super
That'd
cool.
be cool.
It'd be really cool.
But dude, wait a minute. The gimmicks didn't. I really enjoy. I really like the Team North America idea. I don't know why we're going away
It
from
was
that,
the perfect
especially
storm
with
for that.
I have a Team North America shirt with Austin Matthews' name on it because that was the first games he played in our arena. I loved it too, Dave.
yeah,
But I do look back on it and say we didn't. That was an opportunity to get McDavid and Crosby on the same team,
yeah.
and we missed out on that, right? And maybe
I
that's
I
too
think the
retrospective because
I
we thought they would be on a team later on,
hindsight is 2020.
right?
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
expectation was 2 years later they
that's
were going to
fair.
be on the same line in I believe that would have been the Sochi games. So I think that, and that's on the NHL again, bungling. Well, not just them, but like, geopolitics kind of bungling that as well. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
don't
It's
call it
gonna
the
be a
World Cup
long.
though. They can't call it the World Cup. If
Quarter
there's
of the
any,
World Cup,
yeah, if there's any world mention in there, keep it. I don't want it.
International Hockey Challenge Tournament.
I
No,
I don't
there's
know.
no good
Like
name. There's no
I
good name.
no, there isn't. And I really did like the World Cup when they had it back in 2016. It's probably one of my like favorite events in a while at that point.
I feel like our generation was totally cool with it. I think a lot of the older generations didn't really care for it for whatever reason. Don't you guys remember? Dave will especially remember. 2016 September and October. There was something else going on in Toronto. Playoff
Yeah,
games for the Toronto
dude.
Blue Jays.
Oh yeah, that too. I thought you were gonna
Right?
say like we hadn't even seen Austin Matthews in a Maple Leaf sweater at that till
No,
that
yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah. But I'm saying in terms of, I don't even think they sold out the championship game between Canada and
They played
Europe.
on. They played a game that very
Yeah,
night, like the
yeah,
the final, I think,
yeah.
or what was it? One of those
I think it was the
games.
final. I think the final was a best of three, and I think Canada won both games. But one of the games were on the same day as a Jays playoff game, so it just they couldn't sell out the championship game in an international event, probably because you had a country versus a continent. I think that was a
Yeah,
little weird. I don't mind the gimmick, but I also think that we don't need it anymore.
not a bad shout. Okay. That we'll just go on a quick break. We'll be right back. We are back from our break. Let's just get right into it. So after the 2004 lockout, two promising rookies joined the league and probably I'd say carried the league for the next decade and a half. Ovechkin says that him and Crosby saved the NHL. What's your take on this?
Uh, the full quote, and this was from The Athletic with Rob Rossi, who's He's a Penguins reporter. Ovi says, "We saved the league. Now they come in, and I guess we're old news. But we saved it. It's up to those guys to come in and prove me wrong that we are not the best. We saved the NHL." I do love Ovi saying this. Like I love him like putting the heat on, I guess, the next generation of stars. Um, there's some truth to the statement, but it's not the whole truth, right? Like I don't think the NHL poofs vanishes from existence without Crosby and Ovechkin there. I think you could go more specific and say that Ovi saved the Capitals and Crosby saved the Penguins. Those franchises are not what they are today without those two guys. But the league, maybe a bit of an exaggeration.
I will say this though, just the small things like bringing in fans like me, for example. Like now I'm a lifelong NHL fan. That's a
Yeah.
big deal. And even just the small things like, you know, after the lockout, you're popping off, you're showing up. And we define this era, like the past era, as the Crosby Ovechkin era. Like that is their
Yeah,
time.
it is.
And
Yeah.
we say that yes, obviously like the league wouldn't have gone bankrupt without these two guys. Obviously with you guys, buying tickets for $300 a piece, right? But
We
but I don't
bankroll
know.
the league. It's all good.
There's there's a point at which we gotta look at this on a balance of probabilities, and I'm gonna give him 45. Like the league
Like,
wouldn't have gone bankrupt sunks, but you define the era and you define the decade and a half.
well, Bri, you made a great point. Like, how does like and it's not just you, because I know other Caps fans living in the GTA region, right?
All around the world.
All around the world, exactly. I think there is some truth. 100% what Crosby did, dude. The Pittsburgh Penguins, especially, were on the verge of bankruptcy before Crosby showed up. That also comes in part with new ownership in Mario Lemieux that took over, I believe, around that time. It would have been like 2003, 2004 that he took over. But how does a team from Washington and Pittsburgh, how do teams like that? Because I also know Pittsburgh Penguins fans who were fans because they were fans of Crosby, and
Crosby
also by proxy, Malkin as well. He's somebody who always just gets like,
tossed
uh,
under the
he
radar.
always does. Yeah, fantastic player in his own right. But how do those two teams become like two of the most successful franchises over the past 20 years? I would say it's by adding those two in particular, right?
The way you look at a Caps logo now, or the way you look at a Penguins logo, is the same way you look at like a Bruins or like a Rangers or like a Red Wings logo now.
You
Yeah.
guys are an upper echelon market now, and without those two guys, you're probably mid to lower level.
Yes.
They've taken you up like two rungs up the rankings in terms of just market size. Even when they're gone, like you're probably they have enough staying power to sustain that.
I'm a lifelong Caps fan now. Like I will never change
Yeah,
teams.
yeah.
Like God forbid something like so bad makes you change. Like if it stays the way it is, even if they never win again, like I die a Caps fan. I'll die like this.
You've seen
Clip
it
this,
once.
Dave. Clip this, bro.
You've seen it once, so
I've
that's
seen it
all.
once. Okay.
I'm getting ready to send this to Brian when he's 92 years old, and the Caps are celebrating what is it, the 75th anniversary of the 2018? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It might take that long to win again. You never know in this league. But
Well, we know.
we'll jump to Patrik Laine. I haven't really been keeping up with what happened. I just know that he got scratched a couple times, and he said that it was the most humiliating time of his career. But
Oh, not when he forced his way out of Winnipeg. That wasn't embarrassing. When he gave, was it not him that gave up? No, that's PLD. I was just about to make a,
well, they
you know.
both kind of forced their way out of
Yeah.
Winnipeg, but
I mean, like PLD did it pretty obvious. Like
He's done it twice though,
yeah,
right? Line has only done it once,
right.
so
yeah,
tiebreaker goes to PLD. Yeah,
right now.
I don't know. This is a weird one. Do you know they've been like trying him at center this season,
Yes, I saw
like
Yeah.
that.
frequently? So
You
yeah,
know,
that's
who they have at center in the AHL?
Ken
In the
Johnson.
A, yeah.
Ken Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I did see CBJ fans because a lot of people were confused. Like, how did this guy make the roster? Because he was on the team last year, and I think he had like
He was
40
solid.
something points.
Mhm.
He apparently was like no good in the preseason. Like his condition, it's like stuff that you're like, okay, this is not good. So they sent him down. I think he scored like a gross goal this week. I saw there was some highlight of him scoring. I think it was a penalty shot or shootout
On a
goal. That
shot.
was really
Yeah.
gross. Yeah. So like
It was the
I'm
Marlies
sure I'll
too.
be on his way up. Yeah. Oh, it
Yeah, it
was?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, okay.
Oh,
On
yikes.
the Hildebeest, maybe? Ah, no. Okay. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. Columbus is just like a they're a really weird team right now. Really weird to me because there's so many young players and there's even like some talented like vets. And it just sounds like we're hearing about a benching or a scratching like every other week in Columbus, right? All the
Yeah.
They
time, man. All the time.
they literally have Johnny Gaudreau on their team.
Yeah,
Like
but they benched him too. Like
They
they've
benched
benched him
him
for a
last week.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Jack
I
Roslovic was a guy, I don't know about this season particularly, but he's been benched. I think Severson was healthy scratched before his injury, like really early in the season. Like they just make some interesting moves there. And it's just weird because this is a first time head coach, right? Pascal Vincent came in for Babs. At this point, Yarmo's probably spent all his bullets. Like he should probably be the next one getting healthy scratch, if you know what I mean. Like, where do you go
Put
from
on
here, man?
LTIR.
Yeah, Robert Island. I don't know if GMs can go there, but it's
do you know what
really
this is?
weird.
This is a trickle down effect from what happened this past summer.
I feel like it's more than like going to the summer. I think we're looking like 2, 3 years now. Basically, since their bubble victory against us, after that season, they've been mid to bad, man. They,
Yeah, that's true.
They've been
but
more
it's
bad than mid.
yeah, yeah. I'm I don't know
You
where they go from here. I don't
you
know.
look at the roster though. There's
So
some
many nice
there,
pieces.
there's
A
hope.
lot.
Like yeah,
You know what the thing is though, like do you want Fantilli and David Juracek and like Kirill Marchenko in an environment where the vets that they're looking up to are getting scratched and benched because of a lack of work ethic and other things? Like that's not a good environment. And that talk about the trickle down effect. You don't want that type of trickle down, right?
no, you might ruin them, like just mentally, which would be an
Yeah,
absolute travesty given how promising Fantilli looks. I don't
yeah.
know. I'm just like I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what to say.
The latest we got from Frege, I think it was on Saturday Night Headlines last night, or it might have been before that, is that Columbus is going to explore talking to a bunch of their veterans and asking to see if do they want a change of scenery. That's the gist of it. But when you think of vets on Columbus, like who is that? Is that Werenski? Like, are you talking like him? Like, I don't think it's Provorov or Severson. They're vets, but you just brought them in. Boom Jenner, your captain,
And I'm pretty sure they signed both of them to like long
mega
deals.
deals. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think Provorov's still on like a long deal from Philly,
Yeah.
but
But
they have term. They have term.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the roster, man, like there's some guys that I'm salivating. If any of these guys are on the trade block,
But
but
this actually feels similar to Calgary in the sense that for whatever reason the mix doesn't work here, and we now have more than a 1 year track record. Like this is with Vancouver last year. We always believed in the talent, and we've talked about this how we like the individuals, but the mix wasn't working. But we've seen glimpses of it working. Now with Calgary and Columbus, it's multiple years of the mix not working. So
okay. Let's move to our next topic. One of my favorite players of all time, Patrick Kane, still a free agent. Several teams interested in him. I'll just throw a couple teams out: Florida, Detroit, Buffalo. They're all in the mix for him. I will let you guys talk about him. I made tea right before our break, and it just finished boiling out. I'm gonna go get
we
it. I will
have to
be right back.
filibuster here, Dave. We have to filibuster.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. So I didn't include a certain team that we may or may not cheer for in that. We'll get to them a bit later, but
Okay.
who's your guess here? Because basically his list is the Atlantic Division.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Except for like what, Montreal, maybe? Like if Boston came calling, like you don't think
I'm sure he
he
listens. Like he
yeah,
listens to that. Yeah.
100%.
I don't know what
Um
Ottawa, but Ottawa's not calling. Like they,
yeah, well
yeah,
probably wouldn't call. So in terms of those three that we mentioned, the one I could see the most is probably Florida. For some
yeah.
reason,
They'll
I
do it.
don't yeah,
They
I
apparently
don't know.
really want him. Like
It just
they've been hot
it's
on his tails for a
it
year.
seems so much more alluring going to Florida than the other two places that we mentioned. Like, listen, if you really
Patty Kane's like he's a Buffalo guy.
he is
He's
a
been in
Buffalo,
Chicago most of his career. Like I don't know
he,
if I don't know if it
Dude,
matters too
and he
much to
also
him.
he went to New York for like
Yeah,
half a season
hot
too.
minute. Yeah.
Dude,
I think that the one thing he's looking for is the best team to give him a chance to win. Like, I don't think he cares about
yeah,
money. I don't think he cares about
Florida might be
anything.
the answer there too, though, to be honest,
yeah.
right? Especially if
Well,
you're looking at just those three teams.
currently right now, maybe Detroit rivals Florida because Buffalo's been pretty mediocre all season,
Yeah.
right?
So the other question is, does he want the best chance to win this year or in general? Right? Because if this is a multi-year deal,
Then maybe you
Florida's
go
got a
Buffalo.
lot to, yeah, either Buffalo or Detroit, because Florida has a lot to deal with this summer.
Hmm.
Like key guys, Forsling, Montour, Reinhardt, all UFA. Those are huge pieces of your team, and you probably can't keep all three of them. So I wonder if Patty Kane looks at that and says, "I don't know about a multi-year deal." And apparently, Florida doesn't want him on that type of deal for those exact reasons. So it could make
But
Buffalo or Detroit more enticing.
whatever it's gonna be, it's probably just gonna be a 1x1 to the best team that gives him a chance. Like I
Yeah,
physically
You don't think
can't.
he's got any type of
I
clout to get a multi-year deal from one
but
of those two?
I don't know. I don't know what team would want to have that risk. Like I know it's if it's only like let's say it's a 1 by 2, like one mil for 2 years. I know there's not. It's like kind of like more risk adverse, but wouldn't you want to use your cap a little bit better? This has been my point, and I've said this about like I know like the
You
Leafs were in the mix. I think the Leafs are if we're gonna go power rank the four teams, most likely that like where he could go. I know he was training here, but like 75% of the NHL trains here like regularly, so don't look into that. Um if we're gonna power rank the four teams, I think the Leafs are like fourth out of the four
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of where to go, right? But I'm against. I'm not that I'm against, but I'm a lot more wary of a guy who just had major surgery, missed preseason, and training camp as well. I don't know if we're gonna get even anywhere close to the Patrick Kane that we saw, who was probably playing injured for most of last season, right? Especially in New York, he looked like a shell of even what he looked like in Chicago. And even in Chicago, he wasn't looking that great either. Um, I'm I'm on the fence about it. I'd be on the fence about it if he's asking for like 2 years right off the jump. I know it's Patrick Kane, 3-time Stanley Cup champ, but he just had his hips replaced. You know what I mean? Like
Resurfaced. You know,
resurfaced.
it's
you
the
know
Okay.
faction surgery.
they took the sanding machine and they just
They
resurfaced his hips,
resurfaced
bro.
him. Okay.
Yeah,
It's the
they gave him a
faction
good
surgery.
polish. Yeah,
And
it's the basham surgery. But Brian, how did that end in terms of the cap is poofed, gone away? That's my thing here. Is like I don't think it's a terrible bet to make because in the worst case scenario, he just disappears. His cap disappears. So I don't see it as a terrible chance to take. The real worst case scenario is that he is a shell of himself, but not enough of a shell of himself to go on LTIR. That's the real worst case scenario. Is he's healthy but not good.
it,
I'd still be willing to make that bet,
it's
especially if we're talking about like a 1 mil. Like that's less than Ryan Reeves makes, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm not worried at that number, but I think we're not going to be talking about that type of number. We might be talking about 2 to 3 mil. And then it's a little more weary. My thing, we've been talking about this like in our chat for a week with like the Leafs who are definitely on the outside here. They probably don't end up with Patrick Kane. My thing is that the Leafs don't have the 5-weapon power play yet. And we were trying to get that with Klingberg. And for whatever, well, not for whatever reason, for the reason being that he's on LTIR, that didn't work out. And he was supposed to be that 5th weapon. He was supposed to possess a shot. He was supposed to walk the blue line with ease. And I think if you added Patrick Kane, that's the spot where he helps you the most, is on defense, but power play defense. You don't put him at the point. You could put Marner at the point, but all of a sudden you have the makings of like a 5-weapon power play a la Tampa Bay, who I think we look at in the league right now. It's kind of the scariest power play in the league. Even if it's not ranked first, maybe, and Edmonton when it's humming is one, but at least for Toronto's purposes, in terms of a round 1 matchup, that power play scares me the most. And if you can have something that equalizes that, I want that. That's my whole shtick on why to get Patty Kane. Is it going to happen? No.
I just want to see him back in the league just to see another chance with him. Like, obviously Kane's one of my favorite players, but I really respect the idea of like waiting it out and then going cup chasing a little bit after and trying to pick your team. I honestly just think that he's going to sign a 1x1 at wherever team he thinks is the best. I don't even think that like money's in the question. I don't even term maybe, but in terms of raw salary, I don't think it's relevant to the guy. Okay. We will go into a weird stat that Christian pulled up. Per Sportsnet, 76.7% of teams in a playoff spot on US Thanksgiving go on to make the playoffs. Which teams fall out? Which teams stay in?
This doesn't even have to be teams here. Yeah, there's got to be like, what is the one team in a playoff spot who is a facade
likely to miss?
Philly.
Yeah, Philly's in a playoff spot right now.
They're second in division. The div.
What?
My God.
Oh man.
Carter Hart's been playing.
But they have like 5 games on us, or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
like legitimately 10 extra games played. Not 10, 5 extra games played, which is a lot. It's 10 points.
Definitely a lot.
And Philly's doing that with ranking 20th in goals scored, like actual goals scored, 29th on the power play, with a 10.1 percentage. Holy moly.
If you sort teams by point percentage, they are 17th in the league. So technically, so that's definitely a facade. I wonder if you can even call that being in a playoff spot. I guess technically by the stat, it is them in a playoff spot.
They have been getting the best answer. They've been getting really good goaltending. Top 10 in both goals allowed, shots on goal allowed. Like they don't let up any shots. So like defense, goaltending, the John Tortorella system, right? Very, very stringent. Something that we really didn't see last year, because the Flyers last year were as porous as any team in the league. So maybe 12 months now with Torts behind the bench, and they're kind of like playing his system. But a lot of the scoring metrics and the scoring metrics are like low, like they're not high. So if you maybe if the defense starts to give out and the goaltending starts to give out and you can't score your way out of some problems, maybe that's where we see Philly fall off.
I don't know. Like technically they're
outside of the Flyers. Technically.
I don't see any other teams that look like they could miss. Maybe the Kraken in the West.
Are the Blues in a playoff spot in their division?
Are. Yeah. They are a wild card team.
Yeah, okay. And they're a team that I'm not sold on.
Okay, this is gonna sound so bad, but I even think we could fall out of the playoff spot.
Yeah, I should have brought you up too.
I think you guys are less likely though over
the Flyers.
Flyers, yeah. I think
definitely.
And the main reason is that Carolina's underperforming. Pittsburgh's not at the level that a lot of people thought they are, and the Devils have not been great to start the season. Like they're 9-1 right now.
They did lose their best.
The thing is though, two of those teams are going to make the playoffs, right? Like between Carolina, New Jersey, and Pittsburgh, I'm willing to bet two of those teams are in, right? They've got to be in. And now you're pushing Washington into a wild card spot because the
Yeah.
Rangers right now have been running away with the division. They're now first in the league. They've toppled the Bruins.
Do they have more than 2 losses yet?
I think they have three.
Okay.
They're
Definitely
15-3
three
and 1.
regulation. Yeah. Wow. That's
So
incredible stuff.
they're tearing it up. Like they're actually like scary.
Mhm.
Peter Laviolette for Jack Adams, Brian.
This is what I just wanted. Like, okay, Eric Gustafson. If you look at his stat line, it's ridiculous. I don't know how many points he has off the top of my
Yeah.
head, but like,
Ridiculous, yeah.
is Laviolette
Especially
the
on
Gustafson whisperer or is Gustafson the
800K.
Laviolette whisperer?
I think it's
Oh, that's a really good question because yeah, he
Isn't
was
that
with
twice now?
Lavio last year. Yeah.
well, considering Gustafson has had relatively recent track record for success, but he's also had his times where, through some injuries as well, he hasn't looked that great. I think it's maybe Labio just being able to get the
Dave,
best
Lavio
out
has
of
a
him.
ring.
He does. He does.
Like,
Yo,
I was probably like 6, but he has a ring.
if you look at Eric Gustafson's career, it's kind of crazy. Like he's had a really weird career.
He
Like
was
just
so
from
hot, and then
Then
well,
the guy,
he was just like he was just guy on Blackhawks blue line. Then when he exploded for like 65
60
points,
points.
right?
Yeah.
He was I'm pretty sure about this. He was captain of Sweden's World Championship team one of the years that Willie was the tournament MVP. And then he just kind of disappeared again. He was on like Calgary, Montreal. You know, Dave, do you know that he was on Montreal that year we
I
played them?
I do know he was on
Yeah, but like,
in the bubble year.
yeah,
I thought it was before that.
no, well, maybe he was
I
there the
didn't
year
know that.
before too. But like,
I had no
he's made
idea.
the rounds, man.
Yeah.
Like, he was out of the league almost. He was healthy scratched on that Montreal team. Then he finds his way to Washington, and he's back to 40, 50 point dude.
Hmm.
And he's doing it again. Like, what a weird topsy turvy career for Gustafson. I know it's not what we were supposed to be talking about, but I just thought about that.
But
Weird career.
going back to the Rangers and stuff like that. Yeah, they're probably a lock. Like they're the best team in the division by far. I think we should just like look at the Rangers the way we look at Dallas. They're just a
That's
wagon.
a good comp. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a good comp. I think we technically haven't even seen the best of the Rangers in terms of Shesterkin yet. Like he hasn't been a world beater. Quick has actually had the crazy numbers so far, which is crazy to think about after last year. But yeah,
It is. It is. Okay, let's move on to our next topic. Um, Capitals. To be honest with you guys, I didn't watch a single Cap game this week. I've been really busy with like school and stuff like
Did you
that.
guys stomp? I swear you guys like stomped somebody this past week.
no,
No,
they
we
got
got stomped.
stomped.
We got our
Oh,
teeth
did
kicked in by
yeah,
Edmonton.
that's right. That's right.
5-0. The McDavel 5-0 on the Caps.
It
That was that was after we were gassing up the Washington goalies in the chat. That's why.
yes, yes. It
Yeah.
it destroyed Lindgren's numbers or whatever it was. But I mean,
What are you gonna do?
there's take. I didn't expect to hold McDavid back. He had a 4-point night, but obviously I can't speak much of it because I didn't watch the game. Okay,
Zach
Sure.
Benson goal.
that was nice. I will give them that.
Really
That was
gross.
a very nice
There's
goal.
not many like first career NHL goals that have been scored that are that nice. Like,
Yeah.
I'd have to guess that's got to be in the top like 100, like in the history of the league. I'm putting it in the top
First
100.
goals.
That's got to
Maybe
be there.
hot take top 50.
Okay, Dave. I'm sorry. I gotta go watch Nuzi Lalonde's first goal. I'll get back to you on that one. Okay, I
Is that
had
a
him
real
at
person?
50. So Nuzi Lalonde. Yeah,
I gotta
I
I
pulled
gotta
that out of
watch.
my brain, but
Yeah, Killer Joe Malone from 1917. What's his
yeah,
first NHL goal
Howie
saying?
Morenz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now looking up Nuzi Lalonde to see where my brain got this guy from. Canadian hockey player. Let's go.
Okay.
Leading scorer for the Canadians and captain from 1950 to 1921.
Holy moly! During the First World
So
War.
there you go, man. Shout out Nuzi Lalonde.
Shout out.
Okay, let's move into our
Caps
next team.
legend.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into our next team, Toronto. I didn't watch any of the Toronto games either, so I'll let you guys take it away because you guys probably did watch them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did,
I mean,
unfortunately.
we didn't have much to watch this week. I think at least I admitted to falling asleep during that Friday afternoon game midway through the second period. Woke up in the third. When I fell asleep, it was 3-1 Leafs over the Blackhawks. When I woke up, it was 3-3. Then I looked at the box score and I'm like, oh my God, it's just Jason Dickinson destroying us right now. Guy
Literally
scored a
nobody
hattie.
else.
Yeah, so and Brian was chirping us for that. He's like, "Yeah, well, I gave him 4 points to McDavid, but at least we didn't
Yeah,
got a hattie by Jason Dickinson on us." I'm like, "Yeah, you're not wrong, man. You're really not." Um,
that's a weird thing you can say. Like
oh well,
Jason
yeah,
why
Dickinson dropped a trick on us.
Jason Dickinson
yeah.
isn't the second best player in the NHL?
I mean,
He might be
hey,
the second best player on the Blackhawks.
that's
Well,
sad.
yeah, right
That's
now
goddamn
maybe.
sad.
He might
Yeah,
be. Like, I think
he's
there's
in
an
the
argument.
convo, man. He's in the convo. Yeah. Brian, did you at least see the highlight of Nylander hitting the trifecta of posts?
I didn't watch any hockey tonight. Like
Okay,
this
okay.
weekend.
I just
Zero.
figured we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you saw it. So he had a breakaway in overtime, and he does the patented Nylander move. I'm totally comfortable calling that his patented move now. He uses that on any breakaway, shootout, mid game. It's the forehand fake, go to the backhand, and just throw it
Roof
top
it.
shelf.
Yeah.
He just roofs it, and it looks like it goes in. I'm already on my couch celebrating. I got my hand up, screaming. I'm like, Willie, the streak is alive. And I look back at the TV, the play's still going on. My guy hit the left post, the crossbar, and the right post.
Like all in one.
He,
It was like
yeah,
the
boom, boom,
triangle.
boom.
He did the triangle.
Insane. Then the
Crazy.
Blackhawks go back and score in that stupid scrum where the puck bounces off of the glass behind the net, comes back over the net, lands right in the crease, and Kevin Korchinski puts it away. Yeah, so that was not fun. I don't know, Dave. Do you have any like specific thoughts of that Blackhawks game? I don't really. It was pretty sloppy, to be honest.
I have kind of like there's one thing that I saw in both the Blackhawks and in the Pens game yesterday. They started off like red hot, both games. In
Which isn't the
particular,
norm.
yeah, in particular the Tavares line on the in the Blackhawks game, I thought they could have scored. They probably could have scored 5 goals in the first period alone. They had legitimately like
Yeah.
grade A opportunities within like the first, I would say 15 minutes. They looked the most lively. And yesterday, the Matthews line looked like that as well, where they could have scored
I'd
5
even say
goals.
yesterday specific to just Nyes. I know he scored
Yeah.
one, but
Yeah.
that's
He
got to
could
be
have
like
had
top 3 games for
3.
him this season. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have had like
He
3.
was using his shot a lot last night. His shot is deadly, bro.
It's good.
Yeah.
His shot is crazy good.
It's the
Because you don't think
wrister,
about
right?
him that way. It's a beautiful wrister, though. Like it's really snappy. You wouldn't expect that type of like fluidity to his shot because you think of him
Yeah.
more of like a power forward in tight spaces, net front. Nah, dude, he can shoot it from a distance. He's got something in that shot for sure, man.
Maybe that's the fifth weapon.
Well, I that's a good point actually. I don't know if they'll ever try it this year though. I don't think they would.
Yeah.
I'll be
Well,
honest, I'm not
he's
seeing it.
he's on that second power play. Like he's on that
He
second
didn't even
unit.
start the year on that second unit though. Like I remember
Yeah, it
watching the
was
first couple
Yarncroke.
games and didn't even trust him on that unit. And yeah, so he gets it sometimes now, yeah. But
He could like just thinking
he could
about
be.
him. He could
I
he
like
could
that
play
show.
he could play behind the net or back post, and then Tavares just transition to play front post. That's
Yeah.
all
I
you
don't
have
hate
to
it.
do.
I don't hate that idea, Ryan. I do like that. I think it's at least like they should try that look out. Yeah. Yeah.
So yesterday, I think there's like both like the back-to-back games. So we played Friday and Saturday. They both kind of ran similarly. The Leafs start red hot, but then it seems like as the game goes on, so they start red hot, they score, and then both games almost immediately within the next at least a minute. I think yesterday was like literally 25 seconds. They get scored on. Like the
Yeah.
game was tied within 25 seconds. So there are
Well,
definitely
we're like what 20 games into the year now, Dave. I don't even know if it's the past 2 games problem. I think this has been like a
no, it's a whole
season-long
season.
problem, right?
How many games have the Leafs held a lead, like scored first and held a lead for
10
periods?
minutes. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once, twice, like
Handful of times it feels
it's either a tied game or the Leafs are down trying to come back. That's not how you're
Yeah.
going to win a lot of hockey games. So that's definitely not even just an early concern. Like, it's been a concern.
All
That
season.
shouldn't be happening. Yeah, all season that shouldn't be happening anymore, because this was the type of stuff that we yelled at the team. Austin Matthews
Years
is
ago.
like their first year in the league, right? Their second year, you could maybe excuse them. Their third year, starting to run thin on excuses here. But now, dude, it's like 8 years in, and we're still playing this style of hockey, especially because we know how, like, just fantastic they could be, because both times we saw in the first period, not only just like one line, like that game against Chicago, all four lines looked engaged and ready to go in the first 20. The next 40, it just seems like they just shut off, or they have moments of them shutting off, and when they shut off, they get scored on. Like, there is no coasting for the Leafs, right?
I would categorize it as them like they coast during the middle portions of games. It's like,
yeah,
at least recently, they've started on time, and even if you don't want to say like the first 5 minutes, I'm saying on this season whole that they usually start slow. Within the first period, it feels like they understand that that's a important part of the game. They shut off for the middle portion, and then it's like they'll wake up in the third with 10 minutes left and be like, oh yeah, okay, this is where we're supposed to try and win the game now, whether they're up by one or down by one. That's what kind of feels like this season's been, where they rest on their laurels and hope that the game is still within reach come the middle of the third period.
because they have the talent to, if you're going to place a bet on are the Leafs going to come back, I think maybe it's a 60-40 in your favor most times, because they've done it multiple times. It could be even higher.
I think I've seen, like, we've only had like 5 or 6 regulation wins this season because we win so many of our games in overtime. I think we've won like 4, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the best. It's not sustainable, right? I think we can at least acknowledge the blue line's been pretty weak. So that's part of this as well, right? With a better blue line that stays more engaged, that just has more talents, it's probably isn't as big of a problem. I feel like a lot of the trend, or at least what I've noticed now, or what we noticed in last year was, remember, it was Leafs giving up goals in the first minute or the last minute of a period.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very common trend. And this year's trend has been giving up leads, getting scored on right after you score. That's been the trend. Not the greatest.
Killing your momentum within 20 seconds or within a minute, I would say.
Overall, I don't think we're not in panic zone again with the Leafs. It's kind of just, I think we're coming to grips with them being like we're gonna be second or third, maybe even wild card team, but I don't think we're panicking yet.
Yeah. Definitely off of my
definitely the expectations
prediction.
the expectations were to be competing for that top spot. And what sucks is we've been dropping these points as the Bruins have been losing. That's what pisses me off, is the Bruins have finally looked human, and we couldn't do anything about it. And the Red Wings, who are in this battle with us, have been picking up points against the the Devils and the Bruins. So they're looking all right. And they actually were kind of decent against us in that game in Sweden. I don't think they lost, but I didn't mind what I saw on the whole.
Did we do Klingberg last week, or is that this week?
This week.
Did we do who last week?
Was Klingberg on LTIR last week?
Yeah.
Or this week?
Well,
he
was scratched last week, but he officially had LTIR during this week. We're apparently going to get more clarity. Yeah. So we're going to get more clarity potentially this week or next week on his season-long status. Right now, it's just put as rehab, no surgery involved, which leaves the opportunity for him to come back. But that might not be the case a week from now. Apparently, the league is like hot on our heels because we do this often. We have Muzzin and Murray on LTIR right now, so they want to make sure that there's something legit here.
It's legit.
I'm not too worried, because like he has this injury history. This is something he's carried over from his career, right? This isn't a thing necessarily.
So
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have a lot of time left, and not a lot to happen for the Leafs. But before we close off, I just have a trade that you guys might be able to pull off given your cap situation now that Klingberg is now. And I know that Christian loves these, and you guys are acquiring a defenseman in this trade. You guys are acquiring Nikita Zadorov, retained for David Camp, Ty Voigt, and your first this year.
Is this a U trade, Brian,
Holy
or
shit.
was this from
No,
Cap Friendly?
this is from Cap Friendly.
Wait,
No.
okay. This isn't. Yeah, this isn't. I was gonna say this wasn't a real trade, right? Yeah, no.
That fourth line center, pretty hot. Like that's a B tier prospect, I would say.
Yeah, dude, Calgary's not doing that trade. Calgary's absolutely not doing that trade. If you ask me,
They could
they
do
don't
better.
want David Camp at 2.5. Like, they don't want, or 2.4. They don't want that. They don't want that. I don't think Camp's going anywhere, to be honest. Like, he has more to give. He hasn't been great this season, but and then on the
I think
Zadorov
he's actually
front,
been a lot better recently. Like the past, like in
without
Sweden,
some guy
Ryan
named
Reeves.
his name, yeah, yeah,
Even with Ryan
who
Reeves, like
scored?
that line scored. Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
I
think
do think though, Dave, though he could definitely be better. Like he used to be the shut down guy, so he's
yeah.
got to bring his stats up again. But
Defensively, he hasn't been where we need him to be, or at least what
yeah,
they expected him to be, basically.
yeah. So yeah, but I don't think that trade is too realistic because I don't see Calgary having any use for David Camp, to be honest.
But Ty
I
Voigt in the first, the prospect in the first.
Ty Voigt as a Leaf fan, that's just a name, to be honest. Like I don't think any Leaf fan is getting woken up from their sleep by that one. And a first is a first. That's the price you pay for rental defenseman, I guess. But I would love it. No, as a Leaf fan, you're fine with that trade, but Calgary won't make that trade. That's what I think. Um, yeah, I'd get into Zadorov here, but I like we only have a minute. I'll just say to me there's better options. That's all. We can get into it weeks
It's
from
In the
now.
like
future,
there's definitely
Yeah.
smoke, but before we talk about it on the pod, we gotta make sure that there's a fire, right?
for
So
sure.
okay, we'll leave it at that. NHL Shop, I'd say if you want to get your Seattle Kraken and Vegas Golden Knights Winter Classic merch, it's all there. Shout out to Razor and Fubo. It's Fubo now.
Shout out to
They have
Fubo.
Hockey Night in Canada, and in the States, you have your RSNs, your regional sports networks, where you can watch your favorite NHL team play. When and
Even
there.
college football.
That's it.